right. Well, good Wednesday evening, everyone. Irish Hammer here, along with Tiffany, the Heavy
Hello,
Force
hello.
Sports Network, dropping the hammer. Tiffany, my friend, how are you?
I am good, despite the circumstances.
Yes, would be much better if we were still playing baseball right now, but unfortunately, that was not in the cards for this group. Um, I mean, again, we've kind of spoke to it all season, and really, when you look at the situation at the beginning of the season with Josh Elander taking over kind of the 11th hour from Tony after he departed, able to kind of keep the group together, but a lot of growing pains, I think, for not only Coach Elander, I think the staff collective, and then I guess some could argue this team kind of underperformed based on the NIL valuation and on paper what we thought this team was going to look like. They kind of routed into form and had moments, but overall, a little bit of a rough first year. But the good thing is now, we kind of talked about this a little bit off air, that the focus now can be on today and moving forward with the offseason. So Coach Elander had his first full year as a head coach. Now he'll get his first full offseason as a head coach. And it probably is a pretty critical offseason for him. So what are we looking like? Who we have staying? Who do we have leaving? What are your thoughts on our roster as it stands, let's say 8:10 Eastern time here on Wednesday, June the 3rd?
Yeah. I got a new spreadsheet for that first.
Okay. Awesome. I love the spreadsheet.
The other thing I want to say before we look at the roster is I think that firstly, everybody has to remember it wasn't even E's team as the head coach for the full fall ball, right?
That's correct.
Tony dipped to the end of October.
Right.
And then took Q and Frank with him. And I think probably the biggest loss in that was Frank.
Absolutely.
If you think the pitchers, Frank had more of a north-south strategy, right? Getting guys to lift their eyes by throwing up and then throwing down in the zone. Whereas Josh Reynolds has more of an east-west. And this is why we started seeing guys, like we had 57 hit batters this year from our pitchers. But the other thing that we have to remember is, like, if guys went through fall ball with Frank's mentality, right? And I know Reynolds was there, but it was still Frank's mentality, right? And then that switched at the end of fall ball. Like, that also may explain, I don't want to give excuses, but that may explain some of the issues that we were seeing, right? So as of right now, we have had a couple guys hit the portal. So let's talk about the portal guys first. Let's talk about who's definitely committed and then who's on the out of eligibility / draft eligible. So in the portal, the other thing I think that E probably learned a lot from, this was the first year with roster limits, right? Or like a smaller roster.
Yes, that's correct.
And so I think E probably learned a lot about what that has to look like. I mean, even was it Ole Miss's coach was complaining on the weekend, like, we shouldn't have guys who have had to throw 150 pitches one day coming back out the next. Well, actually, coach, you had other guys in the bullpen. You just didn't trust them to throw.
Right.
So what I think these roster limits might do moving forward is send more guys to JUCO or mid-majors initially. Some of the, you can't afford to carry guys who are still developing a little bit. Right. And, guys like Antigua, who is in the portal. I mean, we love his glove, but the hitting just never came around. And so you can't hold guys for too long. Same with Krenzel, hoping that they get better when you need everybody. You need to be able to trust everybody can come in, right? And it was obvious in the regional that wasn't the case, that he did not trust all the guys. So,
yeah, and didn't Antigua finish for the season? Didn't he bat 200?
Let me pull up his stats. But I mean, he didn't end up having a ton of at bats.
Yeah, a lot fewer at bats than.
Yeah. Let's see.
As the season went on, he was limited in his plate appearances for sure.
Yeah, I mean, once we started getting guys like Grimmer and Wright back, we didn't really see much from him.
Yeah.
So we'll miss him, but he had. So Antigua ended up with a 200 batting average in the end, and an OPS of .702.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately,
you get
into the postseason, that's not gonna cut it. So,
yeah, I mean, he had 40 at bats, 6 runs, 8 hits, 4 doubles, 1 home run, 9 RBIs, slugging percentage at .375, 6 walks, 3 hit by pitches, 5 strikeouts. So his on base percentage was .327. So, he just didn't. The bat that he had last summer in the Appalachian League and then what he had in fall ball just didn't materialize come SEC.
No, it didn't.
Or really even come non-conference play. So we've got Abernathy in the portal, another guy that we're going to miss.
Mm-hmm.
Great speed, but again, the hitting was kind of, he finished with a .236 average and a .731 OPS. So, a little bit hard to justify. He had 140 at bats, 36 runs, 33 hits, 9 doubles, 1 triple, 3 home runs, 16 RBIs, .379 slugging percentage. So Abernathy's gone, Antigua's gone, Finley Bates is gone. He didn't have a lot of chances. Hudson Chance is gone. He was a pitcher who redshirted. He was really great to my son when he was signing his ball, but he hit the portal. Evan Hankins, he got injured. I didn't know this, but I guess he suffered a knee injury at Vandy.
Yeah, Vanderbilt.
Hunter High, obviously we hate to lose him, but again, he didn't get a lot of chances. Krenzel is gone. Hopefully he can re-find his confidence again. Ethan Moore's gone. Chris Newstrom's gone. That's not a surprise. I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but from somebody who is in the media or was in the media for the Vols, apparently the reason that he didn't travel for Mississippi State is because the game before, I think it was the midweek, but it could have been the SEC game before, which I think was LSU. They went to find him to pinch run, and he was vaping in the locker room, apparently. Again, allegedly is what I heard. And then Cash Williams hit the portal as well.
Yeah.
So wish them the best. Who we have staying, I really love, and this kind of puts the Elander haters, shuts them up a little bit, but Nick Abraham announced today he's staying. Cam Appenzeller, huge that he's staying because some people had told me that other schools were reaching out to his agent. Chandler Day announced today he's staying. Grinlinger's staying. Will Haas is staying. Landon Mack is staying for his junior year, which is huge as well. Now, there has been some speculation that I have seen Clark's name floating around in a message board thread, but nothing has been made official yet.
I had also heard he was staying, but again, that's not confirmed. So
just from Stone Lawless's post-game interview at in North Carolina, he made a comment about how he felt that him and Clark needed to step into more of a leadership role next year. My assumption is that he wants to stay at the very least. And I don't know why Elander would let him go, but we'll see what happens there. Now, Jax Bishop and Nate Eisfelder are both playing for the Johnson City Doughboys in the App League this summer. And today the Doughboys posted a social media post about, meet your Doughboys. And both Jax and Eisfelder listed UTK as the school they attended. So
good.
Hoping that's a good sign as well.
Yeah. When this Doughboy posts, it's usually about donuts. So
so then out of eligibility, we've got 3. We've got Blanco, Chapman, and Hindi. Blanco and Chapman are both listed as like a day 3 kind of late round eligibility draft position. So that's good. We know that Arvidsson's gone to the draft. Ford's gone to the draft. Grimmer, Coons obviously is going to be likely a first round pick. Marin, Bo Rudy is listed as a potential day 3 pick. I don't know if that makes him decide to come back or not. And Garrett Wright is currently predicted to go between rounds 5 and 7. So he's likely gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of that bunch, Rudy may be the only one that we have kind of a hope of getting. And that just depends on his situation, which I don't have any insight into.
Yeah.
But I would think there would be plenty of scouts would love to get him signed. So,
yeah.
One thing about it was really, of course, Appenzeller was huge. Landon Mack is awesome too, but I think Grindlinger may be a 2-for-1, because I did read something today that there's some speculation now that his brother may lean to coming to Tennessee rather than going into the draft.
Yeah, so his brother is currently listed, because I do also on this spreadsheet have the commits. So his brother is currently listed as a number 11 to 18 overall pick, which is, the number 18 spot sits around about 4.5 million in value. That doesn't mean he's guaranteed that.
Right.
Teams may attempt to negotiate down from that, obviously. But last year, let me just pull up. Grindlinger was originally listed as he was predicted to go 110th, so that's a little bit different. But yeah, so it would be great to get him to campus. We kind of already, I don't know if it was his family that pushed Trent to come to campus, but it would be good if his parents kind of had that mentality. It would be good for us if his parents had that mentality.
Oh, 100%.
Because he wouldn't be draft eligible. Jared Grindlinger wouldn't be draft eligible until 2030. Because remember, he was originally supposed to graduate 2027, and he reclassified. Early.
Yeah, that's right.
So Trent Grindlinger, depending on which draft rules you read, he turns 21 July 15th next year. So that could make him draft eligible, Trent Grindlinger. But yeah, so it would be good because we would have potentially 3 years of Jared, assuming he doesn't transfer. So
yes, always have to give that disclaimer, because goodness gracious, it's just tough to do the recruiting and get these kids on campus, and then you just hold your breath that they actually stick around.
Yeah. So big ones, I think that we will still see commits from, or that we will still see, or that I at least think Elander is going to try and keep, and this is based on no insider information, but just Jared Grindlinger is a left-handed pitcher. So who I think we'll see, again, not based on any insider information, based on what we kind of saw throughout the year and who E went to towards the end of the year. I do think he will try and keep Blaine Brown. I just have a feeling that he's going to try there. Beoto, I think he's going to try and keep, obviously, Clark, Eisfelder. Brady Frederick, I'm not really sure, because he started off good and then was interesting towards the end. Tyler Myatt, another one, I'm not 100% sure what to expect there. Taylor Tracy, I think, could be really good next year. I'm not sure what their what he's thinking there. But I definitely think he's going to try and keep Beoto and Brown, Eisfelder, Clark, and Lawless.
Yeah,
What's your opinion on that?
I think Brown is a heck of an athlete and certainly could develop into what we kind of hoped he was going to be this year, because kid's got all the talent in the world. So I would like to see him stay. I'd also like to see Tyler Myatt stay. But I also know that we spent almost, if not the most money on roster this year, NIL-wise.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's going to look like going forward. I don't know what anybody's, because I don't have any insight, get into, and I don't really care if we're being perfectly honest here about how much money these kids make. I could care less about that.
Yeah.
I just want guys that want to be here,
Yeah.
So if any of those guys fit that criteria, then I'm all for them staying.
Yeah.
I think it just didn't come together.
Yeah, my husband and I were talking about this, and I think 2 years ago, 2024, you had a guy like Simo who brought the energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't afraid to get into your face. You had guys like Drew Beam. You had guys like Blake Burke who would, sternly be like, hey, you need to step up, or, but also like sternly with love, right? Yeah. Last year we had Doyle, we had Fisher. I don't know if this year it was still a case of like we had so many underclassmen and so many freshmen compared to juniors and seniors, right? We had Hindi as a grad transfer, we had Blanco as a senior, and we had Chapman as a senior. And only one of them had SEC experience.
Exactly.
And so I think, I don't know if it was that, like the underclassmen part, or just the lack of energy. I mean, Tony V could have been that guy, right? And so if they built this roster planning on Tony being the energy guy, and then Tony leaves, you don't have an energy guy. Coons kind of started towards the end of the season. Appenzeller got into it a little bit, around Mississippi State, but then he got into a bit of a slump. And Mac a little bit until he got injured. But I think people expected Ford to be like that. And I don't know if that's just not his nature, or we also know that he was sick for a lot of the season and like dropped 20 pounds. So mentally he may not have been able to be there. So we don't know, but I think they definitely also have to factor in, like, we need an energy guy. We need a guy. We need leaders. And it felt like there was a lack of leadership, especially when we got down a couple runs. There wasn't really a lot of fight.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. There was no Simo, there was no Blake Burke, no Hunter Inslee, no Mike Concho. We just didn't have that guy to kind of pick everybody up. And I think it's a combination of what you said. I think a combination of youth and a combination of that's not Coach Elander's personality especially compared to Tony. It's not even close, not even the same planet.
And he did start to get a little bit fiery towards the end, right? In regionals, there was a couple times he was out of the dugout yelling. So,
he did. But you also need that guy like, forever Al Wilson will just epitomize leadership on a team because of the way Al would, good, bad, ugly. He would get in your face, tell you what you needed to hear, know what button to push to get you to engage and do what you needed to do and get you focused and fired up. And we just didn't have that. And not that anybody's going to be Al Wilson, but we didn't have an Al Wilson type to kind of step up because I feel like guys, when we struggled or got down runs, I feel like it just deflated. Like we didn't have the fight.
I felt like it deflated, but it also felt like there was almost like a lack of communication in the dugout. And so instead of communicating and be like, hey, you go out there and just do your job, right? Just situational hitting was awful. And we can look
it was all season. It was terrible.
We can look at some of those numbers in a second, but you just go out there and do your job. You don't need to swing for the fence. Just go out there and do your job and trust the next guy to do his job. And so sometimes I felt like, is this a lack of trust thing, or is it I'm trying to be the hero thing? And that's creating the issues. So But like if we look at runners left in scoring position, total of 229 runners left in scoring position through the year. 202 of those were in SEC play. So 88% of runners left in scoring position were during SEC play. Now, those were runners left stranded. Runners left in scoring position was 107 total, and 102 of those were during SEC play.
Good, not a living.
So, I mean, that's a lot because we didn't lose some of the games. We were, like the game against Kent State, we lost by 1 and we left 6 stranded. The second game against Kent State, or the third game, I guess it was, we lost by 4. We left 3 stranded. UCLA, we left 4 stranded, lost by 7. That's obviously a little bit different. I didn't do it for the rest, but we had 64%, 65% of our offensive innings were scoreless. The good news is that the only way we stayed in this season is that 72% of our defensive innings we kept the opposing team scoreless. But those are some things to look at for next year for sure.
Yeah. And we, as the season went through, we talked about we could easily be this record or whatever. I mean, this team could have been 50-10.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably 25-5 in SEC play.
Yeah.
They get beat by Peabody on walk-offs every game. Like just some of the dumbest stuff kind of happened. And I don't know that we really responded well. Like we were perfect in midweek games for the first time in probably a very long time, if maybe ever. I'm not sure what that stat is. So there were positives, and we had moments and flashes of being really good. We go to Starkville and we sweep.
Yeah.
So
and then like Texas,
so inconsistent. Yeah. Then Texas and Oklahoma to close the season out, and I guess that's why we kind of talked about, well, maybe this team can get some momentum going. Maybe this is what they needed. This is kind of a turning point going into both the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, and then we just flatten out in postseason play. We revert back to when we couldn't hit the ball off a tee.
Yeah.
So it was just very it was frustrating. I use that word a lot talking about the season because I never want to bash our coaches or bash our players. But this team was very frustrating. And you look at what could have been, and I know it's easy to say, oh, well, if Tony had been here, he would have done this or that, and this team would have done this or that.
Struggled. I think Tony would have struggled too. I think that
I think so.
All the underclassmen, I think ultimately that was the killer.
That was a great question, Tiff. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I saw. I'm just looking now.
See if we can
make sure
we can pull that.
So we were.
That's a great question, Austin.
I think this is also a team that played down to their competition because that's really the only way that I can explain.
Well, yeah, look at the Kentucky series.
Yeah. So, we were.
I'm probably going to pay for that here in a little while for saying that.
Yeah.
While you're looking, I just want to throw a quick shout out to our one and only David Ferris shirt I've got on. Everybody can see. Let me move the microphone. Oh, wrong way. It is a Southern Smoky Studio TriStar shirt. You can find these on Ferris's Facebook page and his Southern Smoky Studio page. I'll get this out in a minute. Great shirt, wears great. It's very soft, fits good. Great design. Absolutely love it. So I got to give Ferris a shout out there for the design and go help a brother out.
Yeah. So
Plus, he does a lot of my graphics and stuff, so I got to keep him happy.
There you go. So we were almost done. I will say I was shocked to see UCLA, and so we were 10-8 against teams in the supers.
So a winning record.
Yeah.
And then get sent home by 2 mid-majors. So
go 0-2 in our regional.
Yeah.
So one bright spot when I started joining you on Mondays on this, we were way behind on the home runs. We ended up 15 home runs behind last year's team. So that wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I know at one point, and obviously it was early when this was the case, but we had half of the home runs of last year's team.
They're way behind.
Yeah, so we were really clinging on to those defensive numbers and fielding percentage and things like that. We were like, just hitting's got to get better.
Yeah,
and it did. The power came, but it's just the timely hitting, the situational hitting, and leaving the runners in not only on base but leaving runners in scoring position was just it absolutely. I mean, it was our downfall. It was our demise all season. And then the same thing in the tournament. We could not get runners across.
Yeah.
So it seems to be kind of a theme with our diamond sports this year, not being able to score in critical moments.
Yeah. So kind of an overview of stats. We had 57 hit batters, as I said. This year, Matt Krenzel, Blanco, Abraham, Frederick all had 7 each. The most number of stolen bases was against Coons, but also the most runners thrown out was with Coons pitching. Most number of pickoffs was Mac with 2. Most stolen bases was Abernathy. I don't think that surprises anyone.
No.
Top runners left on base. So the number of times that they were left stranded, Ford and Wright were left 45 times each.
Goodness gracious.
Chapman 43 times, Clark 42, just to give the top 3. And then hitters who were the third out, leaving runners stranded. Grimmer was 31 times. Brown and Chapman combined for 30 times each. Ford at 28 times. The third out, leaving runners in scoring position was Chapman 25 times, Ford 18, Clark 17. Had 433 runs off of 567 hits this year, so 76% run for hit ratio. VCU and ECU games, by the way, were 2 of the worst in that percentage category.
Yeah.
Vols had 302 runs off of 494 hits. So we outscored our competition. If you look at like the year overall, 433 runs compared to 302 against. So that's also sad. Top RBIs was Ford with 57, Chapman with 46, Clark with 44. Top hits were Ford with 71, Chapman 65, Wright with 65, and Merrim with 57. Walks was Chapman with 31, Grimmer with 29, Ford with 27. A lot of people, I just want to note this. A lot of people kind of got on Clark, but he was at the top end of all of these stats through the year. So I think when you look at it that from a collective, like when I was doing it, I was like, he actually maybe had a better play.
And unfortunately, he's the only name of the leaders that we may have back, right? So the bulk of what production we did get, the bulk of that is gone.
Yeah. I mean, Lawless was having a good season up until Vandy, and then he was kind of off after that. So hopefully next year he's good. So walks, Chapman 31, Grimmer 29, Ford 27, Clark 26. Hit by pitch, I don't think it surprises anybody that Wright was number 1 with 19. Second place was Clark with 9. So Wright got hit by 10 more pitches than the second place person.
Yeah, we need to hang a banner out in the outfield for him. for those war wounds that he carried.
Yeah. And then Chapman had 5, and then home runs, 115 total, 5 grand slams. Ford with 20, Brown, Clark, Grimmer with 13 each, Chapman 11, Wright and Marin with 9, Grinlinger with 8. I think we'll see some production, obviously more production from Grinlinger next year. Grand slams were Brown, Chapman had 2, Marin had 2, Eisfelder had 1. Sorry, Marin had 1. This is 2025 and 2026. Chapman had 2 grand slams each of those seasons. So just as a side note.
Yeah, that's and bringing Brown's name up in the conversation here is another reason I feel like it'd be great to keep him, and because he'll obviously progress and get better, whether it's mechanics or timing or whatever that looks like, be more consistent.
Yeah,
not just a slugger. Excuse me. So clearly, we're going to have to look at getting some bats in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, well, bats and arms. I think
we need it all, but all of our offensive production is leaving, save Levi Clark, and that's TBD. So
yeah, and I mean Grinlinger's up there as well.
Yeah,
he didn't catch the crap that that Clark did. So
yeah, well, fair or unfair, I think the expectations were different for Clark also.
Yeah. So I think we have a good core coming back in terms of bullpen. I mean, we've got 2 of our 3 starters at least in terms of weekend starters for next year. So
yeah,
that's good. So we will see.
Do you, and this is completely, well, on topic, but just out of the blue, do you think we need a change at pitching coach?
I think we do, honestly.
I think we do too.
The East West is a dangerous, as we saw this year. But also I just feel like so many of our pitchers, especially ones who returned from last year, like Arvidsson did not always look confident out there. Frederick declined. I personally felt he declined as the year went on. He wasn't trustworthy. I don't know if they just misrepresented Hindi or if it was a pitching coach thing, but I mean, he was decent in non-conference, and then towards the end was also not very reliable. But and then look at Krenzel. Like, I don't know if the team needs to invest in a mindset coach, which, by the way, I'm absolutely available for next season, or if they need a pitching coach who. I just felt like so many guys, their confidence got destroyed, and there was no coming back from it.
That's the word is the lack of confidence. And I felt like too, guys couldn't work out of jams.
Yeah.
Like we've seen, even Liam Doyle, and you go down the list of great pitchers that we've had over the last several years, they could get out of the jam. They could throw a strike when they needed to. They could get a guy out when they needed to. They could force a pop-up or a ground ball. I feel like just across the board, starters, relievers, everybody, I felt like they weren't confident. And when they got in those situations, it's not that they didn't know what to do. It's they couldn't do anything. They couldn't get out of their own head.
Yeah.
And it was just a defeated, almost, the way they carried themselves, everything was just, God, I'm not going to get out of this. Like, just no confidence whatsoever. And I know, Tony a little bit, and I guess we saw it a little bit from Josh this year too, of leaving guys in a little too long. But I think it was more devastating this year because these guys just couldn't recover.
Yeah. I mean, more than once I posted that what Krenzel needs is somebody to teach him how to mentally reset. Because Krenzel would come in and he would be great for the first 2 outs. But that third out, he continually struggled to get. And I don't know if he just started putting more pressure on himself once he knew he just needed one more and wanted to get back to the dugout. And then, he would almost like clockwork. He'd strike out the first 2 or get an out with a ground ball, fly ball, whatever it was. And then would walk a guy or get a double off of him. And then he would just struggle from there.
Yeah.
And
we would go with 2 outs, nobody on, to 2 outs, runners at the corners, and like a death bat coming to the plate.
Yeah. So, I mean, you need a pitching coach who, those are the scenarios that you have to start working on when you're throwing your bullpens, or when there needs, like I said, there needs to either be a mindset coach. And I looked into this because after the first LSU game, people started tagging me and tagging Danny White and tagging Ball Baseball. But there's 2 sports psychologists that work within the athletics department. They oversee all the teams, 2 of them. One of them has been there since the 90s. And has a sports psychology degree. The other one is a social worker per the university website. But baseball is such a finicky sport that if you don't understand the intricacies and you can't tailor it, Krenzel, absolutely. Arvidsson to a degree. I don't know if it was lingering injury or just he got in his head or whatever, but he was either good or he was absolutely not good. And you never knew which Arvidsson you were going to get, which is the polar opposite of what we saw last year.
Yeah.
And the only
100%.
major difference was the pitching coach. So I do think strength and conditioning might need a look as well. I mean, when you have Mac out for 3-4 weeks because of arm soreness, it's a little bit of an issue. So managing load, recovery, I think all of that needs a look in the off season.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree because, same guys look completely different this year and completely lost. And the thing about, talking about this, the mental aspect of it and the psychological, impact of it. I think about people talk about quarterbacks in football when they say you got to have a short memory. Like they go out there, they throw an interception. Well, they got to forget about it. They got to shake it off. Well, quarterback throws an interception, unless it's a pick six, that he goes to the sidelines, he looks at video or printouts, and he's got a little bit of time to kind of shake that off.
Yeah.
I mean, you give up a grapefruit and the dude takes it, 420 over center field wall, you got to turn right around and throw another pitch.
Yeah.
And I don't know that any of our guys this year were able to shake that off. I feel like they just carried everything, every single pitch on their shoulders. And when things weren't going well, it just absolutely was devastating. And, the mechanics aside with, the East-West versus North-South, which is 100% dead on. I don't know if, and I just said I'm not going to bash our coaches, and I'm not bashing, I'm just questioning. I don't know if Josh Reynolds has the chops to go out there and have a conversation on the mound and help a guy get right, because we didn't see it all season. We just saw these guys get into trouble or get down and just never recover.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of things that go with that, and it's really surprising after Frank being here for so long for everything to be so different.
Yeah.
This season and in such a short period of time. It's kind of like when a defensive coach changes up the scheme, 3 months before the season starts. Well, that doesn't give guys a lot of time to kind of adjust to it. So they're going to struggle, but it never worked itself out. The further into the season we went, the worse those things got.
Yeah. And
so
I mean,
I think we need a change. That's just my idiot with a microphone opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't even like Reynolds had like 3 months to work with them, right? Because it was the end of fall ball, and there's strict rules around being able to work with your coach in that time. And so I think, I mean, Appenzeller, he had a couple games where he came in and he was nails, had ice in his veins, like so good. But even that confidence got shaken at one point.
It did.
Blanco got to a point of he could, you kind of knew, and this might be bad to say, but you knew when Blanco went out that he was going to get 1 or 2 solo jacks off of him. But he did seem to, especially towards the end of the season, I think he had, I need to put this on the spreadsheet next year, but Blanco his quality starts was, so Coons had 4 quality starts. Mac had 3. Blanco had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quality starts. So, I mean, he could shake it off, but again, he was a senior, so
yeah,
the age maturity plays into that as well. But I think absolutely they either need a pitching coach who understands how to fix the mindset side of things, or they need to invest in somebody who knows the mindset piece, who's not just teaching like general stuff, but can help the hitters hit and the pitchers shake it off when they throw the wrong pitch.
Yeah, and we need these guys up there pitching, not up there throwing a ball, because there is a difference.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I did feel like, with a couple exceptions, I mean, Taylor Tracy too. I mean, he started strong and then drifted towards the end of the season. And so I don't know if it was a strength and conditioning miss or a pitching miss or both. But I mean, I also just think when these guys have been working with Frank with one kind of mentality until, say, beginning of November, to only have a couple weeks and then, maybe a month in January to get that straight, that just wasn't even a good decision. And again, it's not on E, because he had to put together a team quickly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah,
so
he was literally thrown in at the 11th hour.
Yeah. So I think I wouldn't be hurt if we saw some changes in the coaching staff.
Yeah. I don't know what the relationship is between Coach Elander and Coach Reynolds, but I mean, it's business, and I think Josh understands that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, Kiv was great. We had, like, look at our defense this year, right? Kiv, cool.
Yeah,
I think Geralman, as assuming he's in the hitting coach role, he again came in at the 11th hour. So there's only so much he could do. He didn't help recruit any of these guys. He didn't even have a relationship with these guys.
No, he barely knew these guys' names
when he came in. So, I think give him another year for sure. But the pitching, I think, was a worry.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because coming out of non-conference play, we were kind of like excited about our pitching staff and our defensive numbers. And we're like, well, the bats will come along because these guys are too good. They'll be fine. And then the bats started heating up, and then the wheels fell off the pitching wagon.
Yeah.
So we couldn't put it all together.
I remember saying to you, last year our bullpen stressed me out so bad, but this year, so good about our bullpen.
This year we felt great about it until we didn't.
Yeah, and then it just took a nosedive. So
yeah. So anyway, as I said, beginning of the show is this off season may very well be the most critical time for Josh Elander in his coaching tenure, whatever that looks like. I hope it's a long time.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely not on board with the whole fire Elander deal. That's ridiculous to even suggest that, just if for no other reason based on the circumstances of which he assumed the helm of this team. But we have to give him an opportunity to build a team, recruit his guys. And I know he recruited a lot of these guys. very involved in the recruiting. But we've got to give him opportunity. And he was learning on the job.
Yeah.
First time he's ever been a head coach. So a first-year head coach who took over the program 3 months before the season started. Jesus, people, give the guy a break.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very critical what he does in this offseason because he's got to put together a roster, and whatever the coaching looks like, that's his decision. That's why you and I are sitting here talking about it, and he's out there doing it.
Yeah.
But I've got confidence in him. I support him. I believe in him. I hope everything goes in our favor. We get the guys we need to get, fill the roster spots that are glaring right now, especially, again, from a production standpoint at the plate. We're losing a lot.
Yeah.
And then we've got to find another Sunday or a Sunday starter or weekend starter. And then we've got to shore up the bullpen. We just cannot – we can't go through some of the same issues that we went through this past season. And so Josh will have a full year and a full cycle under his belt when we kick this back up in February.
Yeah.
So hopefully this team looks like we expect it to look, and we get back to doing what we do, and that's winning.
Yeah.
Winning in the postseason. Being in first time in 6 years we've not been in a super, so it feels really weird.
Yeah. Well, Donnie's saying that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, Donnie.
Most likely move over to hitting, which would give us some production as well. I mean, we've got some good pitchers coming in if they get to campus. Caden McCarthy, right-handed pitcher, currently predicted around 78. Sean Sullivan, right-handed pitcher, currently projected around 83. Gannon Grant, right-handed pitcher. I didn't find anything on him being a draft threat. I'm not paying for any of the publications, though, so happy to be wrong there. Gary Morse, right-handed pitcher, not in the draft threat that I could find. Cade Allen, right-handed pitcher, not draft threat that I could find. Cooper Schrum, right-handed pitcher, didn't find anything about him being a draft threat. Tyler Putnam is a right-handed pitcher, predicted early rounds. That's all I could find. Michael Teasley, I think he may have just been awarded like one of the top players or pitchers or something in Tennessee. He's a Knoxville boy. He's a right-handed pitcher, third baseman, projected between rounds 3 and 5 right now. Drew Christine, left-handed pitcher, projected mid to late from what I could find. And then Kai Bratton, right-handed pitcher, didn't find anything about him being a draft threat. So we will still need some arms out of the portal, though.
Yeah, this portal cycle is going to be critical.
Yeah, so we've
seen, we've seen it time and time again. Is the one or two pieces or whatever that looks like for whomever. It's all about the transfer portal. Yeah, we got some great freshmen and high school recruits, and I'm all for that. But we've got to make action and make moves in the portal.
All right. Yeah. So, and then AJ Curry's a two-way as well. So I mean, it's promising, like I said, good core coming back. So
yeah, we just need to,
we
need to
really
build around it.
Yeah. We really needed to keep Appenzeller. We really needed to keep Grinlinger.
Oh, absolutely. Those two, especially. I think anything else outside of those guys are probably a bonus. Although I do like Landon Mack a lot. So
yeah, I wanted Mack to come back.
I won't ever turn down a returning weekend starter. So
yeah, and then obviously Stone and Clark as well in that mix.
Yes. So, well, with all that said, we had a little disappointment, but we also had some things to celebrate.
Yes.
Coming out of opening weekend. Nothing made me happier than to see Arkansas
they
join us on the couch.
They talked so much after Tennessee got knocked out to be sent home a day later.
Yep. It always thrills my heart that Florida not ever win anything in any sport ever. So that made me happy too. But Arkansas especially, though, was a little bit sweeter this year because we didn't have to wait till the Supers or even Omaha to see them fail in their quest for their first ever national championship. Let me reiterate that because they've never won one. I'm going to call this out too, Donnie, because I'm with you, man. when you think about this in this day and age with the transfer portal and the NIL being what it is, and Tony leaving, and not the first player left this program when Tony left, and I've kind of ridden that horse on here all season long. That just spoke volumes to me about how these players feel about Josh Elander, because again, he recruited most of these guys, or was heavily involved in the recruitment of these guys. So the fact that he came in so late, and any of these guys could have left because they had 30 days. They could have left.
Yeah.
None of them left. That alone told me that we got the right guy. And then we come to this point in the season, and I know we've got a lot of guys leaving, but when you look at who's leaving because they're out of eligibility versus who's leaving because they want to go play somewhere else, and the production, that's really not anything that can say, oh, well, Elander lost all these guys because he's not a good coach or they don't want to play for him. It's absolutely not the case at all. So, Donnie, I'm 100% with you. For him to hold this team together before the season ever started was remarkable, because you don't ever see that in a college coaching change in any sport.
Yeah. And for all the Elander haters, Schnall didn't get out of regionals either. So. But now he'll be at South Carolina next year. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So, but of course, the big story, UCLA, Georgia Tech, the number 1 and number 2 overall seeds didn't advance.
Second year in a row, number 1 and number 2 did not advance.
Yeah. Arkansas, bye-bye. A&M, thanks for playing. Florida State, hate it for you. Of course, Florida. So all the predictions that I threw out last week, that was about worthless. I didn't even bother crossing them off because it'd be easier for me to write down the ones I got right a second time. Did get West Virginia, Georgia, Mississippi State, Texas. I was right about Oregon, but it wasn't Oregon State that got there. And then Southern Miss, Mustard Pigeons, I knew you weren't going to get out. I just thought it was going to be Jack State that took that from you. It was not. So, but I will say, if we can't be there, then nobody else can have nice things either. So I hope the chaos continues. And I hope not a single one of you SEC teams make it any further. So there.
I will say, hearing 5,000 people sing Country Roads after Kentucky got knocked out.
That was something, wasn't it?
Gave me chills.
Yeah, that was awesome. Why? I wish we could play them in something. Basketball, football, baseball, I don't care. That would be such a great, cross-mountain rivalry. That would be fantastic. So, but with the landscape that is college athletics today, that's probably not going to happen, but it should be a thing. So just to switch over, dip our toe a little bit into odds and gambling, which I'm not necessarily a proponent of, just wanted to point out. So now our favorite to win the College World Series is none other than North Carolina. They are a plus 380 favorite. Texas not far behind at plus 450. Georgia at plus 550 along with Auburn. Mississippi State plus 650. Everybody else is 1,200 or better or worse, depending on how you want to look at it. So outside of North Carolina, Vegas thinks one of these 4 SEC teams is going to be the one to dogpile in Omaha.
Well, I've got my my odds on West Virginia winning the Rocco's Challenge.
I think that's a good call because they have I don't know if they've ever been to Omaha. Sorry, I just don't know that.
No, they haven't.
I didn't think so. I didn't want to say that, though, and be wrong. So, yeah, with, no LSU for starters.
Mississippi State, if they make it.
No Arkansas.
Yeah. And no Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, at least the best team in Arkansas did make it. That's Little Rock, so they have gone on. But teams like St. John's, I knew Cal Poly was dangerous. That's one of the teams I actually called out preseason that could have a run. Didn't expect them to be there. Troy, which is just down the road for me a little ways, a few hours. Man, I may go down there and find the coach, shake his hand for putting Florida out. Didn't just beat Florida twice. They embarrassed Florida twice. That was phenomenal to see.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Oregon, Oklahoma, USC, Ole Miss, Kansas, the Gumps, and West Virginia to round out the rest of the teams. But a lot of juice on these upper-tier SEC teams and North Carolina. So hopefully we see some more chaos, some more upsets.
Yeah.
Again, it would suit me just fine if all the SEC teams lost both games here on out. A brother can dream.
That's right.
So we'll continue to kind of watch this. Obviously, eyes heavy on the transfer portal. I know we've got at least one visit scheduled. I'm sure there are many more to come because at least Coach E is going to get a jump on this, as you pointed out. Don't have to worry about any of these other teams sneaking in and stealing somebody from us, at least that are still playing. So,
yeah. Well, just to round things out, as much as it pains me to say, I am hoping Texas goes back-to-back in softball.
Well, an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I don't know. Keep in mind, Texas Tech had tampered for Pinnell last year, and then after Tennessee beat her, she got on live TV and lied about what Karen Weekly said. Their fans are also vile. So
yeah, and that's something that just we're going to have to get used to in the coming seasons in every sport, is because Texas Tech have oil money down there. That's different than cattle money. That's different than gas station money. That's different than chicken money.
Yeah.
That's different from great value money. Oil money is another playing field.
Well, Texas
along with
Tech
their
down 5-1.
They got some guy that went there that plays quarterback in the NFL for some team that does stuff. I don't know. He does sports, I've been told. Wow. So they've got more money than they really know what to do with to begin with. So they're going to continue to tamper and buy players and do all this crap. So we're going to have to get used to seeing Texas Tech be very prominent in postseason play in pretty much every sport. So anytime, I said all that to say, anytime anybody can beat them, I'm all for it, even Florida.
Well, Texas is up on them 5-1 right now. So
I hope they beat the hell out of them.
In game one, just sweep them. That's what I hope.
I'll deal with Kyle Umlang or whatever his name is. I'll deal with him over anybody from Texas Tech. So
he is still far less annoying than Tech fans.
Yeah, I can handle him. I got a couple pretty good friends that are Texas fans that I actually like and get along with. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So
yeah, you Tech people, you're right there with Arkansas as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah.
So anyway, hopefully, can't believe I'm saying this with you, but hopefully Texas can handle their business, and we won't have to hear from these knuckleheads at least until football season, if they can find a quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say if they have a quarterback.
All right. Well, this will probably wrap us up for the season. It's been an absolute thrill, pleasure, and joy to have you on. I look forward to this part starting up again next season. That's not to say that we won't talk and be on here again for other reasons, but from a baseball perspective, it's probably going to be the icing on the cake. So we'll continue to track things. Tiffany will continue to put out stuff, I promise you. So make sure you're following her.
2027 roster spreadsheet is pinned on my Twitter profile, so you can find it there if you want to check it out.
There you go. She's the spreadsheet queen. So again, thank you so much for being on all season long. It's been my pleasure and a real thrill for me. I look forward to next year. And like I said, don't think you're off the hook. We've got other things coming that we're going to drag you into as well. So,
well, I put So my husband is the basketball guy. He won't do the spreadsheet. I'll keep the spreadsheet for him, but he was rewatching the Iowa State Tennessee game the other night preparing. So he's your basketball guy. But I also have a trip to Huntsville to see Snead play at the end of June. So
okay, well, you let me know when that happens, and we will make sure to go to that game with you. So
sounds good.
Fantastic. Well, Tiffany, thank you again so much. Thank you, everybody, for checking in with us all season long. Really appreciate that. Bigger and better things to come down the road, and go Vols. I don't know what else to say. Y'all take care. We'll see you next season.